Hi guys, today we're going to be working in the vegetable garden doing a little harvesting and planting. We have a reprieve this morning from the heat wave. We've been in the upper 90s for over a week now. No rain, full sun. But this morning I woke up to 60 degrees, cool, a little bit of humidity, but we are going to come out here and get a few things done because later on this afternoon we're supposed to hit in the upper 90s again, and we're like that for the rest of the week. So we're still not out of the heat wave yet, but I'm going to take advantage of this little pocket of coolness and get some things done. So we are going to be harvesting potatoes and garlic and planting a few more peppers and our sweet potato slips, or the rest of our sweet potato slips. So I am a little behind, actually I'm a little late. I'm a little late in harvesting the garlic. The garlic for some reason this year came up or is ready a few weeks earlier than normal. So we're just gonna harvest it and see what we get. Now, I did pull a few cloves a couple weeks ago and they were not very big, and I'll show you them in a minute. So I left them in the ground for a couple more weeks. I cut the water to them about 4 days ago, so they should be dried out and ready to come up. But again, I have no idea what we're gonna get, so we're just gonna jump right into everything and go. We're gonna start with the potatoes and then work our way to the garlic. And the same thing with the potatoes too. They're starting to wilt, so that is a good sign that they're ready to harvest. So again, part of the fun of planting underground is you never know what you're gonna get until you harvest. So these are the two garlic heads that I harvested a couple weeks ago. You can see that they do have cloves, but the overall size of each head is very small. So I figured I'm gonna let them sit in the ground for a couple more weeks, and hopefully by then they should be ready to go. And judging by the look of these plants, I am probably a little bit late to harvest. But let's start with our potatoes first. We'll get those harvested, and then we'll move on to our garlic. So these are our remaining Yukon Gold plants, and you can see some of these still have a lot of green on them, but they are starting to yellow and wither. This one is a lot further along. This one is starting to lean and soften down there, and this one is starting to change colors too. But I do want this space to plant some more peppers, and these potatoes have been in here for 3 months or so. So whatever we get, we're gonna get. I could probably let them sit for another week or two, but I just want to dig them up and see what we have and get some more things planted in the ground. So I'm going to use my hand trowel, and I'm just going to start loosening the soil a few inches away from the base of the plant, because if there are any potatoes, I don't want to nick them. And we'll just slowly lift up, and we'll see if we get anything. See, that was in the ground a little too long. Something got it. But we do have one little potato so far. I wonder if there's more. I think that's it for this one plant. And we have one little Yukon Gold potato. I hope this isn't going to be like one potato per plant, but we'll see. Here's what we ended up with. We have about a dozen potatoes. A few of them are pretty good size, and some of them are a little smaller. You can see this one split, so we can just cut this part out and, well, we can cut little bits out and eat the good stuff. But overall, it's a learning experience. Here's our carnage, and there were definitely a few potatoes in the ground that were apparently just either rotted or something ate them, but they look like they could have been decent size had they had the opportunity to kind of grow, but something got to them. I probably could have waited a little bit longer too, but I don't care. This is still exciting though, because I've got a dozen potatoes now. So I'm gonna cure these and let them sit in the shade for a couple weeks and just let everything dry out. Because like right now, if I were to scrape the skin off, it peels right off. So these are what you would consider new potatoes. They're new because they're newly harvested. They haven't had a chance to cure and the skin to like thicken up and dry out. So this one we're gonna eat probably today. So one huge potato. But the rest of these, I'm just gonna bring them inside and let them cure in the shade in a cool place for a couple weeks, and then I can just brush off all of this extra dirt and store them. And we'll just set these over here for now. All this we'll discard. All right guys, so now I'm just gonna plant this middle row right here with some more peppers that we have. I've got a red bell pepper here, a couple serranos over here, and some Armageddons over here. So basically this whole bed will be Mo's pepper patch. And I'm going to amend the soil with some garden tone and fertilize the rest of the peppers too. So this will be like a recharge and a feeding all at the same time. All right, we've got our peppers all planted up. Our first three are Armageddons, then we have a red bell pepper, another Armageddon, and a serrano chili pepper. So I did plant these a little closer than I did the exterior ones. I've got 6 plants in the middle, and the exterior rows each have 5 plants each. And I gave them a little dose of fertilizer, and once we finish all of our harvesting, I'll come back in and water everything in. Look at our jalafuegos. They've got some peppers on them already, and they've got some good size to them. Oh, this is so exciting. Our potato harvest and pepper planting projects are done. Now we're gonna move on to harvesting garlic and planting our sweet potato slips. So garlic will tell you when it's ready to be harvested. You can tell just by looking at it. Typically the bottom 3 leaves are drying out. The tips of the top leaves are starting to yellow. So that's a good indicator that your garlic is ready to be pulled. Now, I have let some of my garlic go a little bit longer, so it looks completely dried out. Some of them still have green in them, but there are a few that are completely dried out. So I have no idea what we're gonna get here. Again, you know, typically I wouldn't be harvesting these until July 4th. We're a couple weeks early, so let's just see what we get. So here is the current state of our garlic bed. You can see a lot of these bigger plants still have a lot of green on them, but you can see that the bottom leaves are drying out and the tops are starting to dry out. So these are basically telling you that they are ready to be harvested. And each of these little leaves goes all the way down under the ground and around the bulb. So each of these leaves represents that little paper lining which protects the garlic cloves. So if you have 3, this is a telltale sign that they're ready to go. These are looking a little bit more dried down. You can see that some of the upper leaves have dried out. And then on the smaller plants, the entire plant has dried out. Some of them are even just breaking off. But these are all hardneck varieties, and that's why we have scapes over here, which is basically their way of setting seed. Hardneck varieties typically have a harder neck, which goes all the way down, and the garlic clove is just one single stem down here surrounded by a bunch of cloves, whereas with a soft neck variety, the neck is softer. It would actually be a little more bendable when it's ready to harvest. And as you go down to the garlic bulb, you have multiple layers overlapping each other of garlic cloves. They do tend to store a little better. I can't really tell the difference between the flavors, but all of this is hard neck. Also, once these do their little swoop, you can harvest these and eat them. I have seen recipes where you can saute them or use them in pesto. So maybe next season we'll try them out. Some garlic scapes. The sun and the humidity are starting to rise. So I'm going to show you on one garlic plant how I harvest it, and then we'll just clean up this whole bed and get it ready for our sweet potato slips. In case I forgot to mention too, I did cut the water to this. When I say cut the water, it's not on drip, but I haven't watered this in a few days and we haven't had any rain. So the soil has dried out, which should make harvesting the garlic a little easier. So here we go. So let's start with this one since it looks a little promising. We've got 3 lower leaves that have completely dried out, and you can see that the upper leaves are starting to dry. The further we go up, there they are. So I think this one might be good. I don't want to jinx myself and just pull up nothing. So here we go. A little one. Probably the size of, I wouldn't even want to say a golf ball. So this has a good root system, and you can see where these lower leaves have dried out. If you follow them down, you'll see that they connect right down to the garlic bulb. And that is what provides that protective paper when it's curing and when it's growing. So you can also use like a hand trowel to harvest too. You just want to make sure you go about 3 inches away from the base, because you don't want to like jab your hand trowel right close to the stem, because you'll most likely puncture the bulb. So just take it out about 3-4 inches and just go down deep and just kind of lift and loosen that bulb. And again, you can see the extensive root system. Tiny, tiny little garlic bulb. That's okay. All right, guys, I forgot to turn the other camera on, so the rest of this harvest did not get picked up on video, but I can show you what we harvested. All right, guys, so here's what we ended up with. It's not the most spectacular harvest, but, you know, we do have a few bulbs that are like golf ball size, and then a lot of them are just a little bit smaller. So not a very, very impressive garlic harvest this year, but definitely a learning experience. I'm wondering though, just what exactly was going on, because, you know, the whole telltale signs of the plant being ready to go are showing. It's exhibiting all of those visual factors, but then underground, they didn't really bulb up like they did last year for me. So I don't know. Either way, I'm still happy with this harvest. Even though they're not super big like I had them last year, we still have something as opposed to nothing coming out of the ground. So I'm still going to cure these. I'm going to put them in a shady spot, probably downstairs with the potatoes, and let them cure for a few days, let them dry out, and let all of those sugars and energy that are in the leaves soak up in the bulbs. And then I will come in and just cut the tops off, cut the roots off, and we'll store them. But all in all, you know, it's fine. We got something, and the whole experience was fun. So this is the part that I enjoy, you know, just getting them in the ground and planting everything, watching it grow. If it doesn't produce a big, huge harvest, like this overwhelming, spectacular thing, it's not disappointing. I mean, it's part of the journey, and I'm okay with it. I'm still gonna be able to have garlic, and we're still gonna be able to eat it and enjoy it with our potatoes. So now we're just gonna go and recharge the soil bed and get our potato slips planted, our sweet potato slips, before these gnats eat me alive. And just to give you a visual, I'm gonna let all of these garlic plants dry down and cure, and all of the energy that's in these green leaves will go right into the bulb, and then we will come in and cut the stem off about 2 inches above the bulb. Remove all of the roots and dust off any remaining soil. And then we can store them or eat them. All right, so I'm gonna add a little more raised bed mix to kind of bring the soil level up a little bit. And then we'll add some Biotone starter fertilizer to the soil, get it all nice and charged for our sweet potato slips. Okay, so these are our sweet potato slips. I got them a couple weeks ago, and I've just had them in a Morse paper towel outside, letting them harden off a little. We did plant a few in the green stalk a couple weeks ago, so now we're just gonna plant whatever we have left. And you can see they've already got roots coming through. So let's just open. Oh, there we go. This is the root system right here, and it's already starting to produce some leaves. So you can, if you want, plant this directly into the ground about 6 inches, or you can plant it a little bit more sideways and get a little bit more soil coverage over here and a stronger root system. I'm going to plant them this way with just a little bit of the top sticking out. And you would normally want to plant these about 24 to 36 inches apart from each other, but because we're doing this in a 3x4 raised bed, I'm going to plant them a little closer, and whatever I have left over is going to go to friends and family. Okay, so let me show you how I'm going to plant this. I'm going to make a little trench in here about 5 inches deep or so. And then I'm just going to take my sweet potato slip and plant it in. Oh, look, a garlic bulb. I'm going to plant it a little bit sideways with the top coming up and just bury it back down. And we'll just continue on. Let me show you one more time. We're going to make a trench about 5 inches deep, lay our sweet potato slip in sideways with the leaves coming up, and just backfill it all in. Look at all these blueberries. Yum! I am so excited. We are going to be harvesting these too. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, these are so sweet. I could just sit here and eat them all. Oh. You guys, look at all these blueberries. Oh my gosh, and these are good size too. And they taste so good. And there's still a bunch more left on the bush, so we're just going to cover it back up and let some more ripen. What a good harvest though. I think I want to harvest a couple jalafuegos so we can try them. All right guys, we've got everything watered in. These are our sweet potatoes. I forget the variety that I ordered. I want to say Beauregard, but I'll double check and put it on the screen. But I do believe these have a maturity date from 100 to 120 days. So we're in tail end of June, July, August, September. So right around October, we should be harvesting. Hopefully, if this heat continues, we may be harvesting a little bit earlier. And then coming over here real quick, I thought I'd give you a little update on our carrots. They're looking beautiful. Our onions are over here. They've definitely put on some size. Some of them kind of fizzled out a little, but all in all, they look okay. Let's hope we have a better harvest with our onions than we did our garlic. And our pepper bed. Everything is all watered in here. We just harvested a few of the jalafuegos to try. And we've just got this entire bed full of peppers. Mo's gonna love this when he gets home. Real quick, the tomatoes that we planted a couple weeks ago, they are definitely putting on a lot of size. We've got some flowering going on in here. I don't see any fruit set yet, but definitely got a lot of growth on these. Look at the basil too. Chamomile. Our onions tucked in there. Some more chamomile. Everything in this bed is looking really good. So here's our haul for today. We harvested our Yukon Gold potatoes. We've got about a dozen of them here. All of our garlic, this is all hardneck variety. And while the bulbs may not be the biggest, they're still edible. We can still cure them and store them and use them. So I'm very happy. I had a lot of fun growing it. Harvested a few of our jalafuegos to try and a bunch of blueberries that are just so sugary sweet. So good. Okay, so we're gonna take our harvest inside and we're gonna take our potatoes and our garlic downstairs and let them cure. Oh, I don't have any free hands. Okay, Google, turn on the gym lights. Okay, we're going downstairs and I've got a little table set up. This is our basement down here. We have it converted to a gym. And right now it's a little bit of a dumping ground too for the last couple days. But here I've got a couple of, actually these are just baking cooling racks I set out on a desk over here. So we're just gonna lay out all of our garlic and our potatoes. Here is our potatoes and our garlic all laid out, so now they can dry out. They've got plenty of airflow. They're about a ½ an inch off of the desk, and they have more than enough room for air circulation, and they can just sit here and cure. And once they're ready, we'll come back in and clean them all up. What a productive morning. We harvested our potatoes, planted some peppers, harvested our garlic, planted some sweet potatoes, harvested some blueberries and some peppers. I'd say that is a great morning. I'm really happy finally to get these sweet potato slips in the ground. I had completely forgotten that I ordered them. You order them so far ahead of time, and then you start planting. You get into the season, you start planting everything, and next thing you know, you get a package and it's your sweet potato slips and you're like, I have no room. So you know, what are you gonna do? We found room, we made room, everything is in the ground for the summer season, so now we just wait and see. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. I will try and get a link for that blueberry cover, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.